building. Clap your hands like you just won the lottery. Amen. Now I need to trouble you one more time. Just stand to your feet. I don't know what you were doing this past Thursday at noon. But I stopped what I was doing and I prayed for everybody in this church. But it just wasn't a habitual kind of prayer. I was praying for your health and your strength. I'm finding out what old people have to deal with. And it's just as clear as rain. My new go-to phrase is, ain't none of us 20 no more. So, I want you to pray. Take about 60 seconds to pray right now. Just ask God for whatever it is that you desire. And pray for somebody else. Do that now. And I'll be seated at your feet. Worship at your feet. And I'll be right here at your feet forever. And I'll be seated at your feet to worship at your feet. And I'll be right here at your feet forever. Come on, bless God. We give hand claps of praise. Amen. Let me direct you to the 13th chapter in St. Luke. I want to read it to you. I want to start reading at verse number 8. And he answering said unto him, Lord, let it alone. Let me repeat that. Let it alone this year also, till I should be about it and done it. And if it bear fruit, well. And if not, then somebody say after that. Yeah. Then you can cut it down. Leave it alone this year. Give me an opportunity to work with it. Sometimes people just want a chance to work with you. Let me see what I can do. And if it bears fruit, well. If not, then you can cut it down. Today's lesson, my life is in his hands. My life. We just say, not your life, but my life is in his hands. I think it's been about 3 weeks since we've been dealing with this parable about Jesus told a few of the people about the misfortune that had happened some time ago. He wanted them to be mindful of the fact that things happen when you least expect it. Things happen. Y'all remember he talked about a tower that had fallen, and some people were killed, people that probably didn't deserve to die. Everybody in here, I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Everybody in here, at some point in your life, you question why God took somebody you love, when he could have gotten somebody else who didn't know what church was. But so much can be taken and learned from this parable. Three separate entities in this parable. And there is a chance that you might see yourself in one of these three parables. The rich man, certain man. I believe he was well off because he had a vineyard. I think he had it going on. Well, none of us in here, I don't think, are rich. But you can act like it. This man, I think he was running out of patience.
That's right.
Because what he thought was going to be a positive turned out for him to be a negative. Then we find out that his patience had run its course, and he had enough of wasting his time on a tree. A tree that should have been producing. A tree that should have been productive. I think that this tree had everything it needed to succeed, but it was non-productive. And if you don't see yourself as the owner of the vineyard, then might see yourself as the caretaker or the caregiver. He had some good qualities. He was a caring person, a loving person. And not only did he have eyesight, but he had insight. He was a patient person. Every now and then you need somebody to have some patience with you.
Amen.
Sometimes I'm at home and the wife is trying to do something, and she's struggling with, when you get a little older, you start struggling with stuff. You get a little older, you forget what you came into the room for. And she'll just be trying to get something open, and then I'll just start saying, Fumbo, Melina, always fumbling, can't get nothing open, fum. Yeah. But your patience sometimes runs out. But I don't think this was the case with the caregiver, because he saw something different in this tree. He saw something. Even though he hadn't seen anything in the past few years, he sees potential. Do you see yourself as this tree? That maybe you haven't been as productive as you probably could have been, or maybe you have not been as productive as people who watch you think you should have been. No one, watch this. No one wants to be known for being good for nothing. You don't want that moniker on you.
No.
Good for nothing.
That's right.
But we discover that his patience had run its course. And the caregiver, rather the certain man, he only has one resolve. His resolve is, after he examines the tree and assesses the situation, he only has one answer: cut it down. There are a lot of people who don't want to hear your side of the story.
That's right.
We were sitting out looking at a movie last night, Tyler Perry's new movie called Straw. I don't know if you saw it, but you might want to look at it. It kind of reminded me, I told the wife last night, this kind of reminded me of the movie John Q with Denzel. One was in the hospital, one was in the bank. And I think Taraji just wanted to be understood. Because we all have been guilty of losing our patience with people. Lest you forget somebody was patient with you. Yeah. I don't think that the owner ever thought twice about what he wanted to do to this tree. His resolve is this: cut it down. All of us in here got some stuff that we need to cut down. It's taking up space. And watch this. It's good for nothing. But that which we need to cut down, we hang on to. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you what the caregiver, the caretaker wants. He wants a little more time to work with this tree. And observe this, if you will. They don't go back and forth. You ever had to go back and forth with people? You know sometimes you're not gonna win. But my older people that I grew up around, they used to tell you all the time, it takes two people to argue. Why don't you be the bigger fool and walk off? They'll go back and forth. I want to cut it down. No, don't cut it down. I want to cut it down. No, don't cut it down. I want to cut it down. No, don't cut it down. Ain't none of that. Because the man who owns the vineyard, who had the tree planted, he's spoken.
Right.
You know how it is when you say what you say to your kids and don't make me repeat myself. Yeah. He's spoken. But the one who owns the vineyard, he's made up his mind what he wants to happen to this tree. I like the fact that when the caregiver speaks, y'all gotta get this, when he speaks, it's not about him. He's always making stuff out about us. It's not always about you.
Right.
Sometimes it has to do with people who are around you. Somebody sitting here right now around your vicinity is going through some stuff, but they're not going to ever say it because you can't handle yours and theirs.
Right.
So sometimes you just keep it to yourself. The old Negro spiritual Martin says, nobody knows the trouble in my life. Just because I have a smile on my face doesn't mean I'm not hurting on the inside.
Right.
I like the fact that it doesn't make it about him. Tell your neighbor it's not always about you. Mm-hmm. It appears, and I've said this before, but I'll say it one more time. It appears that the hairdresser sees, watch this word, potential. Potential. Did your parents and your grandmama and Gigi and whatever you call them, did she ever tell you that you're going to be somebody?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Because even though sometimes it takes outside family members to see the potential of the inside family members. It appears that the caretaker sees potential. I looked up that word potential. Listen to what it is. It's having or showing the capacity to become or develop into something in the future. Yeah. I'm not where I ought to be. But when I pause and rewind and press play, I'm thankful that I'm no longer back there where I used to be. And if anybody else does not see your potential, then guess what? Toot your own horn and see your own potential. Ain't none of us where we ought to be. But we got to be thankful that we are long way from where we used to be. Aren't you glad the Lord brought you out of the club?
Right.
Well, some of you.
Yeah.
Clubs, ice house, juke joint, whole house, pimp house, crack house. Brought out the house. Yeah. It has potential.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not where I need to be now. But if you just be patient with me, I know that I have potential.
Right.
Yeah. The caretaker is fully aware that patience has worn thin. As the owner has spoken to the caregiver speaks back to the owner. Then the caregiver will have to address, watch this, the shortcomings of the tree. The shortcomings of the tree. What kind of tree was it, Pastor? It was a fig tree. Well, where the figs at, preacher? I don't know. They're not here. So, cut it down. Why is it taking up space? Somebody in here has been criticized because you were non-productive and all you was doing was just taking up space.
Great.
You were just mark time. Come on, me people. You were
Yeah.
mark time. Your legs was going up and down, but you wasn't going nowhere.
That's right.
Well, it's time now, after vernacular, it's time to address the elephant in the room. And what is the elephant in the room? It's a fig tree that ain't bearing no figs. I can only imagine the disappointment again of the owner. He's finished talking. All of us in here got some years behind us. We don't heard this phrase before. Look, I'm done talking.
That's right. That's right.
And I ain't got to tell you what came after that. You know. But the life, Lisa, the life of the tree, we're not so much talking about right now that it has not produced any figs, but let's just look at the life of the tree. The tree been here, but this now is the 7th year. If you really do the math, it's really the 7th year now. And 7 in the Bible is a number of completion.
Right.
So with that being said, it's been 7 years and I still have nothing to show for my investment. Well, watch this. In this parable, I'm going to drop this phrase on you. Listen to this. The caregiver is also the middleman. The middleman. He acts as an intermediary or the go-between in a transaction or a process. In this parable, the caregiver is the middleman. And he only has 2 requests. He only has 2 requests. You know, sometimes people don't want a whole lot in life. They want the little small, simple stuff. Right. You know, you tell somebody you're trying to get with, I'm easy, I ain't hard to work with. But he only has 2 requests. He wants the owner, leave it alone. We always messing with stuff that don't need to be messed with.
Right.
Oh, if I was outside, I'd use another word. We always messing with stuff. Sometimes you need to learn how to leave stuff alone. Why? Because somebody left you alone. He has insight. He said, leave it alone. That's the first thing we can do. Just leave it alone. In other words, it needs some more time. Yeah. Second thing is, watch this. I like this because he said, let me work with it. Some of y'all in here used to be a piece of work. Piece of work. Some was wrong with you. Used to ride a little short bus with the football helmet on. He says, let me work with it. Obviously, the caregiver still had what the owner had run out of. In every situation when something pops off, somebody had to have a cooler head, and that head needs to prevail.
Right.
Watch this. I'm going to drop this on you. Is it possible? Sheila, is it possible? Dorothy, is it even remotely possible that this caregiver was new to the vineyard? Is it possible that he doesn't know what has happened in the past, but he knows he's got a pissed off owner, right, and he needs to do something? He said, leave it alone, let me work with it. Somebody had to work with you.
Listen.
Somebody's still working with you.
Listen.
Watch this. Maybe he didn't know the plight of the owner of the vineyard. See, the owner could be saying, look, man, listen, I've been coming here every year for the past 6-7 years, and it still ain't done nothing. So that lets me know that it had been at least 7 years that tree had been planted in this vineyard. 7 years is enough time for you to decide if you're going to get off the pot. Is that too thick for you to come on? Maybe he didn't know the whole story. Maybe this is why he was so quick to say, leave it alone. Well, he doesn't think that cutting it down is a good idea. Anybody here got done in because you followed somebody that said they had a good idea? I have a shirt that says, that's a horrible idea. What time? What is his opinion? He says, let it alone because he doesn't think that's a good idea. He said, let it alone this year also. In other words, allow me to work with it. Then I'll close out on this. It says, and then everybody in here got some age behind you that's had an and then time. Oh, out there doing this, that, and that. And then I was talking, I rolled my eyes at mama, and then I was speeding by a policeman, and then cussed out my boss, and then I got fired. It says, and then. This caregiver feels after hearing about the tree And after seeing the tree, again, in my closing, his only request is, let it alone. It just may need a little help. It just may need a little more time.
Right.
I want to close out with this. Is it possible? Is it possible that the caregiver sees himself when he looks at that tree?
Right.
Is it possible that he could relate to being non-productive? Is it possible that he could relate to people looking at him and talking about him? Is it possible that he could relate to the fact that he should have been more further along than where he is? All of us in here had what the old people used to call a pipe dream. I
Right.
believe that this was going to happen, and you all you did was talk about you gonna do this and you gonna do that, and wait till you see me, I'm gonna do this, and all of us in here when we were younger wanted to buy our mama a house.
Come on.
It didn't really work out, did it? Because you can't buy her a house if you stay in an apartment.
Oh.
That one will hit you tomorrow. Maybe somebody had patience with him. And I like him in my closing because if I could just speak for this man, he's probably saying, I really can work with this tree. Don't cut it down. Because I see it has potential. You ought to thank who, I don't know who it was. I don't know who it was, but if you know for a fact that you are here today because somebody saw something in you, I want you to stand on your feet. Because somebody saw something in you. And not only that, if somebody in the past thought you were a failure, they thought you were taking up space and you just good for nothing. He has faith. He sees potential. Be grateful for your after that days. I don't know about you, but there are some things that we've all said that we want to ask the Lord when we see him face to face. Everybody in here has had something that happened, and you want to simply ask the Lord, Lord, why did that have to happen? I want to ask the Lord some things when I stand before his face. But then I want to ask the Lord, Lord, if you just got a little time, can I ask you a question? What actually happened to the fig tree? We don't know. Y'all not getting that, are you? It never tells us what happened to the tree. Did it eventually get cut down? Or did the caregiver's numbers pay off? Or did the caregiver just end up talking to the tree? You know what? He said you was good for nothing. I believe him. I really, truly would like to know. What happened to that tree? Is it still bad? Is it still not producing? Is the caregiver still taking care of it? Is the owner still coming year after year after year after year being disappointed? I just want to know. So right where you are, I want you to pause. Because you know for a fact your life is in his hands. You don't have to worry. comes in the morning. Touch somebody and say, troubles they won't last always. For there's a friend named Jesus who will wipe your tears away. And if your heart is broken, just lift your hands and say, oh, I know that I can make it. I know that I can stand. No matter what may come your way, your life is in God's hands. With Jesus we can make it. With Him I know we got to stand. No matter what may come your way, your life is in His hands. God bless you. You're one of the three. You're either the owner, or either you're the caregiver, or you're that tree. Don't know. We got no earthly idea what happened to that tree when we found it. We don't ever hear anything about the tree anymore. But let me just say this to you. I think this caregiver really truly loved this tree. And he stood in the trenches between the axe blade. Somebody ought to be thankful because somebody stood between you and the axe blade.
Right.
You might not see it now, but I do have potential. I tell this story all the time. When I first came here, I was green as a pickle. It was a pot, a pool. I get in there for 3 weeks. Then you gonna be out of here. They say he's too young, too green. Touch your neighbor and say, green things grow.
Yeah.
You ain't always been brown. You were green once upon a time. So I thank God that those of you that stay here, we grown old together. Amen. Yeah, you old. You gotta sit down and put your pants on. You old.